Hello, brilliant entrepreneur. It's Tash Corbin here, and welcome to episode number 182 of the Heart-Centered Business Podcast. All of the show notes and extra resources for today's show can be found at tashcorbin.com/182. And it's a super juicy episode today because we're going to talk about how to create a big burst of income in your business in a very short period of time. I refer to these as short-term cash injections. And if you'd like one, this episode is going to be very, very juicy for you. Let's get started. I'm Tash Corbin, and this is the Heart-Centered Business Podcast. Okay, so let's be honest. Sometimes you just need some cash and really quickly, particularly for those of us who are in business and it's our only major source of income. Sometimes you have quiet periods or big expenses come in. And yes, we're building our businesses long term. We've got long-term growth strategies, but sometimes you just need some money fast. What is it that you do when these things happen? And how can you do it in a way that doesn't derail the long-term growth of your business? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. So number one, we need to have a process. You need to come up with your manifesting process for creating a short-term cash injection. Now, lucky for you, I'm going to share with you my exact step-by-step process for my business so you can get started trying my way of doing things and create a personalized, bespoke approach that works beautifully for you. So here's my short-term strategies for coming up with some short-term cash and in a very short period of time when I'm going for that stretch income target. Number one, I get clear on my goal and I give every cent a purpose. So what I'll do is I will write down all of the things that I need the income for in the week and whatever is to follow. And I take into account things like the tax obligations of that income, what I'm paying my regular bills, paying myself as per usual, as well as the extra things that I might need income for. So for example, in running the Heart-Centered Business Conference, there are a couple of times a year where I need to make a balloon payment. Now, I have payment plans and ticket sales dripping in here and there, and generally, the money that's coming in from ticket sales more than covers the expenses. But sometimes a balloon payment will come due and the conference account doesn't have enough money in it. Well, what am I going to do? I need to work out how much money is going to be needed for that payment. So I'm going to make this an example and give you some practical ideas here. So let's say in general, my business needs to bring in $10,000 a week to cover team expenses, paying me, all of my personal stuff, and all of the existing ongoing expenses of my business, as well as paying my tax obligations on that income, putting money away to look after future Tash, and all of the things that I want to do. Let's say $10,000 a week is my normal business income that I need. Now, if you don't know what your regular income is that you need each week, sit down, map it out, put it all down on paper, and actually calculate your number. Chances are, if you don't do this in a strategic way and you actually consciously write it all down, you'll forget things. You'll think you won't include things like annual payments, or you might forget to do things like putting money away for savings and putting away money for your investments and superannuation. So make sure that you consistently review what is your bottom line of your business and what does the top line translate to be able for you to meet your bottom line, as well as meeting your goals in terms of business growth. So let's say my business as usual, life as usual, including looking after my future self and putting away tax to meet my obligations, is $10,000 a week. But I need an extra $10,000 on top of that to meet a balloon payment for conference. So my income goal for the week is not only $10,000 for business as usual and $10,000 for that balloon payment for conference, it's also the tax on that extra $10,000. So let's say that's an extra $3,000. And because I put a percentage of every dollar that comes into my business towards my financial freedom, that percentage is 20%, I'll need an extra 20% for my financial freedom fund. So that means I need to bring in $25,000 in this short period of time. Let's say it's a week. So step number one is mapping out what is my goal, and I give every single dollar and every single cent a purpose. I know exactly where the money's going to go when it comes in. What I also love to do is I will put a piece of paper up on the wall, and I'll put the order in which I will start divvying out that money. So the first $1,000 will go here, the second 1,000 will go there, then I'll get to 3,000, it will go there. And so I put all of the in order, in timeline order and priority order. I put all of the places where I'm going to send that money when it comes in, because I always fulfill my contract that I make with the universe. So I make a little contract with the universe. When I bring in this $25,000, here is what I'm going to do with it. It's important that I stick to my word and fulfill that contract. So that's step number one, is set a very clear goal that has a very clear purpose. Step number two for me is to come up with a strategy to bring that money in. So my business as usual activities generally will bring in $10,000 a week, sometimes even more. So I look at what I've got planned for the week already. Where can I maybe get better results for the things that I've got planned? So for example, maybe I'm running a webinar this week already and I've got a really juicy upsell that's happening on that webinar. Well, it's going to be better for me to double down on that, get more people on the webinar, refine that webinar, get better conversion rates, maybe make the offer even juicier, maybe have some short-term incentives, rather than coming up with a whole new idea on how I can bring that money in. But step number one for me on strategizing how I'm going to bring that money in is actually to write down 50 ways I could bring in the money. What this does, it gets me out of problem mode, focused on what's the problem, which is how on earth am I going to bring in $25,000 this week, and gets me into solution mode. How on earth am I going to bring in $25,000 this week? I actually start problem solving. And chances are that you have unclaimed abundance and other ways that you could bring in the money really quickly and easily. So sometimes when I do this action, I realize I've got a pile of things in the corner that I've been putting aside ready to sell through Facebook groups or in a garage sale or on eBay. And I could actually get that stuff out there and get it sold. I'm looking at that corner because I actually have a pile of things to sell in that corner right now. So that's something that would be on my 50 ways to make the money list. And the other thing is that sometimes, particularly if it's an urgent income need, there are other ways that you could bring in the income that may not necessarily be related to your business. So when I first started doing this, I would write things down like I could babysit for the neighbors. I could offer some dog walking, go down to the local dog beach and pin up a sign to say I do dog walking, or I could sell other things, or I could take up some part-time work doing something. I could go on to Upwork and offer my services in graphic design, because I actually really do love doing graphic design things. So when I first started doing this process and when I was first starting my business, some of the creative ways that I came up with to bring that money in weren't necessarily in my business. They were other things that I could do quickly. I knew I could get the money in, and then that would take the pressure off me and I could continue along with my existing business strategy. Now, I'm not suggesting that you need to burn yourself out and do all 50 of these things, but don't filter as you write down those 50 ways you can bring in the money. This isn't a commitment that you're going to do all 50 of those things, but what can happen when you force yourself and really commit to writing all 50 ways down is that you'll come up with some very creative, very amazing, very quick, very sexy ideas to bring that money in. And also, some of the ideas that you come up with have been rattling around in the back of your brain for a while, and when you put them on paper, you realize they're not the right strategy. But I want you to write them down anyway, because you can then go back and review and cross out the things that you definitely wouldn't do. So one of the things that always popped out, and it still does to this day, when I write down my 50 ways to make the money list, is to offer in-home VIP retreats, or to run a new event, or to do some other in-person thing. It rattles around in the back of my brain because it's definitely something that I want to do more of in my business once I am firmly established in my current strategy. And it's definitely on my vision board to be on stage more, to run more live events, to do more workshops, to go on tour again. But right now, that's not the right strategy. I have existing strategies that I haven't seen through to completion. I haven't done them to their full extent that they're going to be returning on investment. So I need to focus my energy and attention on those things first before I get distracted with the shiny objects of running more in-person events. So write down 50 ways that you can make the money and then cross out all the ones that aren't a good idea right now. Tick off and do the ones that you could do in the next 20 minutes, and then look through that list and pick some strategic things that are going to have the most likely return on investment, that are most aligned to what you're currently doing in your business, and that are most likely to actually result in an increase in your income. So that's step number 2. Number 3 is I declutter. So once I've made a decision on my strategy and I've got started with it, I will also do a declutter. Now, I do 3 layers of decluttering and I spend 10 minutes on each. So I'll do a declutter of my workspace, a physical declutter. So I'll tidy my desk, tidy up any old client notes, file away things that need to be filed away. I'll even clean out like my handbag or my backpack or my wallet, something where it's symbolic of money coming in. So that's my physical declutter. I'll spend 10 minutes doing a digital declutter. So I might clean up the downloads folder of my computer, clear out my inbox, clear out my calendar, say no to things digitally that I've been sitting on that I haven't actually responded to yet. I have a lot of requests that come into my business, and rather than say no straight away, sometimes I'll just like leave them there and think about it. So I'll go and declutter those things that I've been thinking about and make a decision, yes or no, and just give people the answer. So that's my digital declutter. And then for 10 minutes, I do an energetic, emotional, and mental declutter. So that energetic, emotional, and mental declutter for me is I write down a list of all the reasons why I'm not going to make my goal, and I tap on them. And I will write down all of the reasons why I'm in this situation in the first place, and I'll do some ho'oponopono. So I am forgiving myself. I'm forgiving whatever's created this perfect storm circumstance that requires me to need this short-term income. And I will also tap away and clear out those reasons why I can't make it and why it's not going to happen. So that 10-minute emotional declutter, I do that every day while I'm in this mode of going for a stretch income goal. So that's something that you can do continuously. It can be a habit that you do every single day. It doesn't need to be just when you're in this process. Then step number 4 for me is I get loud. I get out there and I promote the thing that I'm going to be promoting. I find ways to really show up for my business, really show up for my offer, and get in touch with the right people. I follow up with hot and warm leads. I let my list know that I've got this special thing going on. I get out there on social media and I'm getting loud about my stuff, because chances are that one of the reasons why my income may have stalled or I need this extra income is because maybe I've been avoiding getting out there and being in promo mode. So I'll give myself a couple of 25-minute increments each day for a week and get out there and get loud about the services that I have to offer and really get myself back into that habit of consistently promoting. And once I've got loud and I've got into that habit, then step number 5 for me is to celebrate every single cent that comes in. So I track my income every single day and I celebrate every single cent with deep gratitude and create a sense of abundance for myself. And I look for ways to stay open to receiving. So often I will find myself getting into this cycle of like not even being able to receive compliments, or someone wants to shout me a coffee and I insist that they do not pay for my coffee. So instead, I will make sure that I am opening myself up to receiving. And if someone offers to shout me something, I receive it with absolute gratitude. If someone says something lovely about me and offers me a compliment, I receive it openly and with gratitude. And I practice being in this space of abundance and receiving. Because for a lot of us, we are in the practice of blocking abundance and blocking receiving and deflecting. It's a way of keeping ourselves safe. So for me, I open the floodgates for that, and I let it all in, and I practice receiving each and every day. So there you have my 5-step process for bringing in a short-term cash injection. Now, if this has really piqued your interest and you think, I really want to do this, then you are in luck, because I actually have a 5-day challenge called the 5-Day Fast Money Challenge, in which I take you through this step by step in much more detail, day by day by day. And if you go to the show notes at tashcorbin.com/182, you'll find a link to the Fast Money Challenge, and it will let you know when the next live round is running. But also you can sign up and do the Fast Money Challenge at your own pace at any time. So head to tashcorbin.com/182, get registered for the 5-Day Fast Money Challenge, and let's get that money in. It's more easy, more fun, more exciting, more simple, more straightforward than you could ever believe is possible. We've just got to get you out of your own way and get those steps rolling so that you can make it happen. Until next time, beautiful lady, I cannot wait to see you shine. Big love from me, and bye for now. Would you like more tips, tools, and resources to help you grow your heart-centered business? Head to tashcorbin.com today.